Hey all and welcome back for another HellfireComms Patreon Q&A, this time from September 2018. Don't really have any kind of epic intro this time, just maybe tune into our HFC KH Marathon every Friday and Sunday at 8 PM British Standard Time. Okay, that's it, into the questions. Question 1 comes to us from Shadow Reaper. If you had to pick one animation, i.e. animation or cartoon, not in Japanese or English, aka French, German, Chinese, Korean, etc., what would it be and why? Thank you, Shadow, for your question. I guess I'd have to go with Cooking Master Boy, the very series you commissioned. I have an inkling that this is what you were angling at, but I kind of get what you mean. You want to watch this stuff with the dub that matches the setting, you know? Like, if you were watching something set in France, maybe having a French dub would be best, having something set in Germany, a German dub would be best, and so on. That's not to say that Japanese dubs for Chinese, like, based shows are bad, but I get why you'd prefer it that way, and I think Cooking Master Boy, it definitely suits it better, you know? So, yeah, thank you, Jeffrey, for your question. Moving on. Question 2 comes to us from Dmitry Wiesenhunt. What is the one goal and one dream you had as a child, aged 5 to 18, that you wish you had followed up on or completed if you are unable to now? It's probably going to be like games developer or something. I think we all, as kids, if you're really heavily into video games, you have that dream of being a games developer, and then you realise your limitations, whether it be through maths, English, or any like genre or subject that you just completely are lacking in, you know? Something along those lines. I did want to be a journalist as well, then I realised A, my English wasn't good enough, and B, I wasn't, you know, comfortable with delving into people's personal lives that much, at least on the schlocky side of journalism. So, yeah, that's 2 goals for the price of 1 question there. Thank you, Dmitry, for sending yours in. Third question comes to us from Ronald D. Rankin. Out of Grand Theft Auto 3, Vice City or San Andreas, which one would you like to see get the full HD remake treatment and why? If I were to give you like my gut reaction to this question, it would be San Andreas, but I feel it kind of works frame rate aside as is. You know, maybe give it a HD remaster. It doesn't really need a remake, it's a good enough game as is. I think Vice City, definitely. Like, add in, you know, proper swimming and whatnot. You know, I think that it would look great in HD. Just iron out some of the kinks and whatnot. Because it definitely is showing its age, whereas San Andreas, you know, it has more quality of life features. So, yeah, I'd say out of the 3, you know, you gave me as options, Vice City definitely would be the one that would benefit the most from a HD remake. Thank you, Ronald, for your question. Next question comes to us from Cruel12. Which video game franchise do you like, Tom, that you think should be as big as Mario? Halo, COD, etc. Well, I think Halo and COD especially, are already big as Mario, you know, to the normies and whatnot, to coin a phrase. But, I think it would be nice if Professor Layton, you know, would be nice, as big as Mario, words to that effect, I guess. But, even as a sort of, like, niche to middling franchise in terms of popularity, Professor Layton is, you know, it's doing fine for itself. It's still getting games, you know, it's got its own anime series, so I can't really complain in that regard, you know, but you asked me, and I delivered. Thank you, Cruel, for your question. Penultimate question comes to us from Nocturne Privigini. Is there a ritual of sorts that you undergo before you do recording? Do you grab a cup of tea and cook something beforehand? What gets you ready other than turning the recording equipment and game systems on? Cup of tea, usually. That I very sparingly drink throughout the course of a recording session. I think I mentioned during our Steven Universe Save the Light LP to Heldregan that I had a cup of tea and I'd barely drunk it, because I had a little bit, and then I was like so focused on recording that I just forgot, basically. Or like I try to pace myself with my drinks. I don't want to get up and go make a new one and disrupt the flow. That I just don't drink it at all, you know. But I guess I just like, you know, make a drink, use the toilet if need be, use the loo, have a slash as it were. TMI, I know, but you know, you got to get the anxiety down and just kind of chill out beforehand. You know, anxiety is usually a big thing with these things. Even if it doesn't seem big, that your body and your mind doesn't care. It will invent reasons for you to be anxious. That's how anxiety works. But yeah, you know, just the usual rituals, cup of tea, sit down, have some fun with friends, recording commentary and whatnot, you know. It's not a big deal unless you make it a big deal. And unfortunately, if you have brain problems like me, sometimes it will become a big problem whether you want it to or not. So there you go, Nocturne. That's a little bit of an insight into how the recording process for HFC works. Thank you for your question. And the last question comes for us from Mauricio Cuervo, a regular. What are some games in the past that you stopped playing and for what reason? It could be due to a cancelled LP or games in general that you bought but didn't have any motivation to play. I'll give you two examples. One is LP, God of War PS4. The stop and start process of LPs just made me completely disinterested in that game, and Spider-Man came along and was like, ooh, look at me, I'm an open world game that does it much more fun than God of War, IMO, of course. And I guess the second one would be Splatoon 2. I got up to like the final world of the story campaign and I just like put it down and I haven't gone back since. I don't know why. I don't know. I think I've just gone off Splatoon a little bit. And I imagine a lot more people will be going off Splatoon as well with the introduction of the paid online. I don't know why Nintendo is charging for it. There's no dedicated servers. There's really no benefit to the consumer to pay for it. But whatever, that's not the question you asked, I just gave you a reason. It was story for Splatoon, it was LPs for God of War. Thank you, Mauricio, for your question. And that'll wrap things up for this September Q&A, nice and short. If you want to ask a question for the October Q&A, make sure you get it in nice and early. There's no like firm deadline, but I would say like before October 20th would be nice, because I usually do these things at the last minute, because A, I have other things to edit, especially Patreon stuff nowadays, and B, I'm just lazy. You know, let's be honest here, yeah, I'm not going to lie to you, it's too obvious. But yeah, feel free to ask me what you want. You have to pledge at least $10. Though everything helps pay, you know, stuff for the group, co-coms, equipment, games, etc. And, you know, it just helps keep us going. Thank you to everyone who pledged and asked a question, and see you next time for another HellfireComms Patreon Q&A. Bye-bye.